10. Landscaping Supervisors. Landscape supervisors oversee and coordinate the work of landscapers, grass maintenance workers, and groundskeepers. Landscape supervisors are responsible for managing landscaping projects, enforcing workplace rules, inspecting work, and instructing workers on suitable landscaping practices. Falls are the leading cause of mortality among landscape professionals, which can occur when performing tree pruning from a height. These employees are regularly exposed to the outdoors, heights, and sharp instruments, resulting in a fatality rate of 20.2 fatalities per 100,000 full-time equivalent workers. In 2018, there were 225 fatal work-related events recorded by the sector. To put that into perspective, despite being the last employment on the list, the death rate is still 5 times higher than the national average. 9. Police officers. Police officers are responsible for upholding the law, safeguarding life and property, and keeping the peace. Police officers may be responsible for patrolling an area, issuing citations, investigating crimes, arresting suspects, and collaborating with prosecutors on cases. How hazardous is it to work as a cop? Based on the occupational fatality rate, working as a police officer is roughly 4.1 times as risky as the typical employment nationally. Maintenance employees, construction workers, and heavy vehicle technicians have a higher percentage of occupational fatalities than police officers. Person-to-person violence is the leading cause of fatality among police officers on the job. 8. Farmers. Farmers are in charge of growing crops and dairy products, as well as raising livestock for food. They are in charge of planting and harvesting, as well as feeding and caring for livestock. Farmers also buy materials for their farms as well as acquire and maintain farming equipment. On the open market, they also sell their harvests and cattle. Accidents such as tractor accidents were the most prevalent cause of death among farmers. It's crucial to remember that farmers, ranchers, and agricultural workers confront dangers regularly in an industry that benefits everyone. Despite technical advancements in recent decades, farmers and ranchers still have to work with a lot of heavy equipment and machinery in rainy and otherwise unfavorable weather circumstances. They also operate with a range of motorized equipment, such as tractors and lawnmowers, the primary cause of the profession's 24.7 death rate, ranking it 8th among the most dangerous occupations. 7. Delivery drivers. Drivers who deliver goods load and unload trucks or automobiles and transport them to their destinations within a given region are delivery drivers. These individuals transport freight, food, laundry, and other things to people's homes and businesses from distribution centers or retailers. Customers may also connect with them to organize deliveries, collect money for items, and complete documentation such as delivery signatures. For driver/sales employees and truck drivers, traffic collisions are the most significant cause of mortality on the job. Traffic, irritation, and danger are all part of every worker's everyday commute. Workers whose profession requires them to drive all day face exponentially higher hazards. Truck drivers and other driving professionals have a fatal work injury rate of 26%, making them the 6th most risky jobs. 6. Iron workers. Iron workers are responsible for installing iron and steel on structures such as buildings, bridges, and highways. Climbing high structures, unloading iron and steel, and notifying crane operators are all things they do regularly. Cutting, bending, and welding tools are also used to cut, bend, and weld iron and steel. 2 of the most frequent reinforcing materials used in large constructions are steel and iron. Unfortunately, falls are the most common cause of death among structural iron and steel workers. Working with iron and steel beams and cranes all day is undeniably hazardous. Even though the materials they deal with are massive, falling and slipping incidents account for most of the 23.6 deaths per 100,000 workers. Despite the apparent dangers, employees continue to be drawn to this business, which is expected to increase at an annual rate of 11% from 2018 to 2028, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 5. Garbage collectors. Refuse and recyclable material collectors, often known as garbage collectors, gather our rubbish and recyclables. These workers will often drive a truck around neighborhoods, emptying rubbish bins and dumpsters into the trucks. Many bins are loaded by hand, but mechanical lifters are used on some vehicles. The vehicles are subsequently driven to a landfill or a garbage transfer center where the rubbish is unloaded. Unfortunately, being hit by a garbage truck or other car is the most likely cause of death for these employees. Many people do not consider garbage and recycling collection a dangerous profession, yet workers risk their lives when they empty their homes' trash cans. It has a death rate of 44.3%, with most fatalities being caused by a worker or a truck being struck by another vehicle while trying to pass without slowing down. 4. Roofers. Roofers are in charge of putting up, maintaining, and replacing roofs on houses and other structures. They are responsible for fastening roofing materials such as shingles, metal, and other materials on roofs. Roofers must typically utilize ladders or other equipment to ascend to the top of structures. Falling off roofs or ladders is the most prevalent cause of fatal occupational injuries for roofers. Roofing is high on the list of risky jobs since these workers spend their days climbing ladders and walking about on steep rooftops. Because falls from rooftops account for more than 1/3 of all deaths in the sector, they must be vigilant, keep their balance, and watch out for their coworkers. This occupation has a fatality rate of 51.5% with over 100 deaths each year. The majority of them are, as expected, caused by falls. In addition, roofing workers suffer from injuries and diseases due to the products they employ and the conditions they work in. 3. Derrick operators in oil, gas, and mining. These personnel put up, maintain, and operate the derrick and drill equipment used to extract oil and gas and mine for commodities. The drilling equipment is held in position by the derrick above, and the drill revolves to displace the earth. Pumps for extracting oil or other resources from the well may be included in the derrick. The two major causes of fatality for these personnel were transportation accidents and collisions with items and equipment. Contact with things and equipment is the most prevalent cause of deadly accidents. Mining machine operators run equipment that extracts rock, coal, metals, and other hard commodities from mines and put them onto conveyors that transport them out. 2. Aircraft pilots and flight engineers. Pilots of airplanes, helicopters, and other forms of aircraft fly and steer them. Pilots are in charge of inspecting aircraft states before and after flights, ensuring that the plane is balanced, and arranging for fuel and flight plans. During the flight, pilots also run the plane, interact with air traffic control, and monitor the plane's systems. Rather than on regularly scheduled commercial jet aircraft, most aircraft pilot deaths occur in crashes of privately owned planes and helicopters. While driving is frequently considered more risky than flying, pilots have a greater death rate on the job. For the most part, they can safely transport their passengers to their destinations, but they struggle to maintain their health. Commercial pilots, crew members, and flight engineers deal with the impacts of irregular travel, sleep patterns, and constant jet lag regularly, if not daily. The occupation has a fatal injury rate of 58.9% on average, with plane crashes being the leading cause. Crop dusters and helicopter pilots each confront unique dangers that put their lives in jeopardy during their shifts. 1. Logging workers. Logging is the most dangerous profession on the planet. The fatal accident rate among loggers was 33 times higher than the national norm. Workers in the logging industry harvest forests to produce raw materials for items including wood, paper, cardboard, and other industrial products. These employees spend nearly all of their time outside, in woods and other remote locations. Workers in the logging industry utilize heavy machinery to fall trees and move logs. Contact with logging machinery or a log is the leading cause of fatality among loggers. It should come as no surprise that forestry employees had the greatest death rate, with 97.6 fatal work injuries per 100,000 workers, making logging the deadliest employment in 2020. Contact with a machine, such as a heavy-duty power tool, or being struck by a log or falling tree causes the majority of the injuries. Experts in the industry are still looking for methods to make forestry employees safer, such as establishing safety measures and advising or mandating hard hats. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell button.